$3 million is
Public
on money
comments,
fixing up.
anyone here from the public that would like to make a comment? Okay, no public comments. Then I'd like to get approval of the minutes of the September 15th, 2021 meeting.
I'll move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The next is number 4, which is the discussion of the proposal for monitoring the Rhode Island Turnpike and Bridge Authority assets by the Rhode Island State Police, and we have the colonel with us. Maureen,
Yes.
would you like to start the
Yes,
discussion?
I'll introduce the subject matter. Well, this has been on our agenda before. This is a proposal to establish within the Rhode Island State Police a Rhode Island Turnpike and Bridge Authority post, and to staff the post to monitor the RITBA assets exclusively in exchange for payment of an amount equal to the base salary of 2 troopers expected to be candidates in the next Rhode Island State Police Academy class. The proposal terms are set forth on the attached agreement. The agreement was originally presented by the state police to us. Our council did review the agreement and we made some changes to the agreement. The terms are spelled out. It is a 3-year agreement. Our plan in executing this agreement, and I'll let the colonel speak to this as well, but our plan is to be in close contact with the state police as this new arrangement takes place. Of course, we always get the services of the state police in response to 911 calls. Whenever they're very responsive, whenever we have needed them here, sometimes they get, if they get tired of me, they don't say so, but they're very politely and respectfully respond. Friday afternoons, for instance, the place turns into even more of a raceway than it normally is on other days of the week. And if I make a call and say it's just out of control, could you come here and be a presence? I look up and I don't even have to look for the vehicle. I know they're here because I can see that the traffic is moving in a more controlled fashion. So we do, given all of the speed issues and other issues that we have, the fact that we do not have our own police force, even if we were to form some kind of a security force, they would not have law enforcement powers. And we think that it would benefit us to have a relationship with the state police where we have 24/7 coverage by at least 1 trooper of our assets. So with that said, this is on the agenda today. Colonel, if you'd like to add to anything I said.
Sure, thank you very much, Director. My name is Jim Manning. I'm the Superintendent of the State Police, and the Director of Public Safety for the state of Rhode Island. For those of you that don't know me, in 2015 I had mandatory retirement from the state police. I was a major at the time, and I had the pleasure of working here from 2015 to 2016 as the Director of Operations, Safety, and Security. It was a fun place to work. It was nice people, and many of the faces are still here. And Kenny's truck is still parked right here in the same exact spot. I'm here for the best of intentions and reasons. I'm here because I truly care for this agency, and I care for the jurisdiction that you have. This is not an attempt to expand the state police. It's not, by any means. One of the things I found when I came back as the superintendent was, what were the deficiencies in the state? Where was there a lack of state police presence? Because we have the smallest state police agency in the country. So there were 3 areas that I determined. One was the town of Exeter, which does not have a police department. And I entered into an agreement, it's almost identical MOU agreement with the town of Exeter. And let me tell you, that's a tough nut to crack, anyone that knows Exeter, that they do not want to hear it. I came to them with a reasonable proposal, just like this, same numbers, and they went for it like that. Town of New Shoreham, same thing. I went to them with a similar MOU. They're in the process of okaying it now. We haven't signed off on it yet because of the way they're fiscally, but I'm certain they will. And we will give them, they'll give us 1 salary for 2 troopers, 26 weeks. So 2 troopers will be working in 26 weeks. In the third place, I determined were the big bridges here in the state, where state police is really needed as a deterrent, and I know that firsthand. So what is this proposal? It's first of its kind. It's never been done. One thing I pride myself on is I try and think outside the box. What can we do to make the state safer? work very closely with Director Alviti, coming up with a traffic safety unit, federally funded. We have 7 troopers. I'm hoping to go to 14 troopers once this class comes on. So you'll be seeing an MOU coming too, sir. But that has made a major deterrent on the highway. Our biggest enforcement is on the highway with the traffic safety. So getting back to Turnpike and Bridge Authority, what will this do for your agency? And I know money is tight everywhere. State police will respond here 24/7, whenever needed, right now, forever, whether you say yes or no to this. That's a given. The issue is this: where are my troopers? They could be coming from Route 95 or Route 4 or down there. They could be coming from the Lincoln area, coming up this way around here. There's no one that's stationed here on this island. We are opening the Portsmouth Barracks, and I'm putting 14 troopers there, but they're going to be part of the casino plan. That you will see an increased patrols anyway, just from that. But what are we doing? What is my goal? To have a post called the Turnpike and Bridge Authority Post. And there would be 2 troopers assigned to that. One 8A to 9P, and one 9P to 8A. It would give you as close as a response as possible for a trooper to be in this area. Not to say that other troopers won't respond. They'll be responding as well, if needed, as many as needed. But there will be one that will be assigned. His post will be from Route 10138 all the way to the Secana Bridge as their patrol area. But of course, there will be other troopers to respond if needed. But this one will be for suicide prevention, accident reduction, speed enforcement. The director was just mentioning how fast people drive. It's a phenomenon that's across the United States, not just here in Rhode Island, it's everywhere. I had a meeting with the 6 New England colonels. I was the 6th up in New Hampshire last week. Every one of us, no matter how big or how small the agency, has the exact problems. Habitual speeders, DUI enforcement, gun arrests, crime increase, everything's the same, it's just different locations. You saw a horrific accident that the troopers handled last night. 3 people died. That's the worst accident I've seen. I've never seen a triple fail, and came close, but that was a bad accident, and it has impacted so many families. A girl came up to me at the gym this morning who was crying. She knew this, one of the young gentlemen. It affects so many lives, and it was speed, it was rain, and it was other factors that were yet to be determined. We're trying to prevent that from happening in every corner of the state. I've shared the story with many of you. I've worked here in an official capacity, but I worked here as a trooper too. I was assigned to Whitford Barracks, this was my patrol area. I was assigned to the Portsmouth Barracks, this was my patrol area. In 2001, I was working overtime detail here at 6 at night till 2 in the morning. And we were on the bridge. I was working with another trooper. We were parked at the plaza. And at 2:05, when the detail ended, we were heading up towards Route 1. And we got a call of a person that jumped off the bridge. It was a young female. And Steve, you know the father. It was a connection to Block Island. And the girl saw us here in our cruiser because we found the toll receipt. She was circling us. And once we left, she did it. Now, could we have prevented it? I don't know. But the bottom line is this. A great cruiser is the biggest deterrent we have in this state right now. I know firsthand. When they're around, people slow down, they pay attention, and they're not going to rob any place with us around. When I was a trooper driving in my cruiser, and I live in a private cul-de-sac in South Kingstown, my neighbor went to the insurance company and said, my neighbor's a trooper, and his cruiser's parked 100 feet from my house. They gave her an immediate 1/3 reduction in her insurance rates, which first I heard, because I never thought of that myself. But, so what I'm trying to say is, this is for the purest of intentions. This isn't a grab by us. It's what we're charging you is the least salary we could for 2 troopers, their salaries, number 1. But number 2, we're paying all benefits and pension, all that other stuff. That's another $70,000, $80,000 on top of it. That it's us showing good faith that we're willing to do whatever it takes to make every corner of the state safe. I assure you, if you choose not to do this, No hard feelings. We will be here and we will always be here. I just truly think this would be a great benefit for the Turnpike and Bridge Authority, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, can I open up this discussion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion, yes. I got a second?
I'll second it.
All right, now discussion.
Okay. First off, as a Rhode Island, as a Quinnipiac Island resident, I really look forward to the additional state police presence here. I think it's going to be worthwhile. And I look at, if the board agrees with this, I think it's a community-spirited effort on the on the part of the authority to provide that extra resource for the Quinnipiac Island. So I applaud that effort. I did have one question.
Yes, sir.
Just the mechanics, the
Yeah.
daily mechanics of, how would the troopers' assignments come about? I didn't see that specifically in the agreement. Could you maybe expand on that a little bit? please?
Sure. So there's two things I want to clarify. Number one, even though it's called the Turnpike and Bridge Authority post, right? It doesn't mean that the director or anyone can tell, they can say, hey, we have a speed problem, could you help us run radar? But they can't direct them to, they fall to one person, me, or anyone, so it would really have to come through us for something, if you have a complaint, an issue, or whatever. So that's number one. Doesn't mean you don't have control of what your priorities are. Your priority is going to be
That was my question.
Oh, absolutely.
How does it get translated into?
For example, the director was saying
daily?
this morning, rush hour, you have an issue with habitual speeders. I have no problem with them going to the trooper and saying that, or they could go, we'll have one point of contact, the captain, that you could go to for anything, a complaint, praise, anything, a work assignment. Those troopers on that post will be told, there's a problem here at such and such a time, fix it. For example, when there were toll evaders, we handled it out of Whitman. When you've had, if I'm standing to be corrected, but within a 2-month period, you had 5 people off these bridges that died in 6 attempts. That's a major issue. So your priorities will be our priorities. So once again, I'll go over the post. It's a post. It's a permanent post. You will have someone on that post, no matter who it is, at least one, and they will be from patrolling from there to there. But where the concentration is, obviously this is a hub. This is the major part where we're finding the speeders from Jamestown to Newport. So you definitely have input on what your priorities will be.
That was my main concern. I just didn't see it specifically in the agreement on how the day-to-day activity would take place. You've answered it. Thank you.
And you'd also see a cruiser in the parking lot. You'd see them using the restrooms, coming in and talking to operations, talking to the safety coordinator. So we used to park here. We were always afraid of someone being robbed at the tolls when I was a young trooper. And we used to park here, right in that lot, 3 in the morning, and do some of our paperwork, or we'd use the restrooms, whatever. And we never had an issue. Never had an issue here. Knock on wood.
That's good.
All
You've
right.
answered the question. Thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
Colonel, if I may just add to that, it's also our expectation that the manager of safety and security, Steve Cahill, and I will be in touch with the state police on a regular and frequent basis to say what we're seeing here, what we think our needs are here, so that we get the maximum benefit from this arrangement.
The safety manager, coordinator, director, whatever the title is, will be tied at the hip with those troopers.
Excellent.
I mean, just the Colonel and I, since this has been, we've been talking about this for a little bit, we did have a discussion similar to what he said. I will talk with the district captain, and we'll coordinate what we think our efforts are, and relay that to them.
Good. That addresses my question. Thank you.
And I just want to make the comment that this does not impact us, meaning the Turnpike and Bridge Authority, until next year, 2022, just so everybody understands that it wasn't incorporated in our this year's budget. But
Yes, ma'am, that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. So I don't have the personnel to do it now anyway. They're gonna graduate in July or August.
Yeah.
So I will put 2 additional troopers in that academy for this post.
For this post.
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
right. So it's not going to happen immediately, just so everybody understands that. Okay, can I have a
I just
vote?
have one comment. When things go sideways on a highway, and there's an accident or other kind of incident on a normal highway, minutes count in terms of response by emergency personnel. On a bridge 200 feet above the water, seconds count. And any reduction in the time of response that we can offer to the public on those bridges that we're responsible for is paramount to the safety of everyone. So, very much in favor of this.
Thank you. Okay. And it's interesting because as I was coming in today, I was entering 138, there was a trooper there. And I noticed that all the cars in front of me, I couldn't understand why everybody was slowing down. And I said, every single car had the brakes on, you know, going around that corner. So absolutely correct. Okay, can I take a vote on this? Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, everyone. We won't let you down, I promise you that.
Thank you, sir.
Never
Thank
do. Thank you. Okay, Eric, okay. This is the roof and gutter project for the pump house, okay, an administrative building. The amount is $25,600, okay. Can I get a little bit of a discussion for the board?
Absolutely. So the pump house, which is up on 138 here in Jamestown, it handles stormwater for the 138 corridor and a little bit of the Jamestown Bridge. Still has the original roof on it from the early 90s when it was installed. Time to replace it, so we went out to bid for quotes through the master price agreement with the state for quotes to replace the roof. It's currently a wood shake roof, and it'll be replaced with architectural shingles, which really weren't around in the early 90s. And wood shake roofs are just cost prohibitive, really. I don't see the need for that. In addition, this building here needed some additional gutters. We've noticed through last winter that there's drainage issues where there are no gutters and there should be, and it's causing icing on sidewalks in places and ponding that where it freezes. So we decided let's go out and get quotes through the same NPA for that work as well. Coincidentally, the lowest bids that we received were both from Sole Source Restoration LLC. Pricing we feel is very good. It was $8,800 for the gutter work, and this is, by the way, is for copper gutters, to match the copper gutters that we have on the building, which I thought was an incredible price.
Yeah.
And we did verify with the company that they understood what we're looking for materials, and they guaranteed, they said, yes, this is exactly how we understood it. The low bid for the roof work was $16,800, and that's a good price for that roof. It's a good sized roof. The next bid up was just under $18,000. So we'd like to recommend proceeding with sole source construction for both pieces of work through the state NPA.
And before you take a vote, Madam Chair, I just wanted to point out that we did have an inquiry from a citizen about the concept of sole source, and I did respond to that citizen and point out that the name of the company is Sole Source. The term sole source is a legal term under procurement rules and is and has a lot of meaning for people. You know, but
It may not be the best name if you go public construction.
That was exactly what we were saying.
Bingo.
Thought the same. But this was competitive. The citizen wanted to be certain that this was competitively procured, and we did assure and only saw that term sole source, and understandably, you know, thought that there was some issue with procurement. So we did allay those concerns, and
Make a
that person
motion
was
to
thankful.
approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That one. Now, okay. The next proposal is a resolution, okay, for contracts and task orders, okay, to have the executive director, okay, approve up to $25,000. Jeff, maybe you could give some insight into this too, as to why it's needed, and although it makes perfect good sense to me.
Absolutely, and good morning.
Good morning.
We're seeking approval to execute a resolution that would provide the executive director the ability to enter into task orders or contracts not exceeding $25,000, especially when time is of the essence. I'll just give you a quick example. We did not have an August board meeting, yet we knew we had to do a video toll study. Without having an open task order that we had with the vendor, we would have had to wait until the following September to get that task order, which wouldn't allow us to meet our time frame for all electronic tolling. So really what this provides us is a little bit of flexibility that when we need to enter into something, even if it's a small construction, something happens, we need to spend $5 or $6 grand to do a repair, that gives us that ability. Of course, it would be done with the understanding that in the following months, much like I do the checks over 75,000, that I would provide a listing of any of those contracts or task orders that we entered into and provide them to the board for clarity and transparency.
Can I get a motion for?
Motion approved.
Yes.
I just have a comment, observation on this. I think there might be some good reason that, first of all, I agree with the concept. I think there should be flexibility and ability to do the job. The only thing I'm suggesting is that maybe we can modify this resolution to include keeping the board in the loop, such as one of the provisions could be that the executive director advises the board chair if this method was going to be used, just so the board is kept in the loop in the effort. That would be my recommendation.
So you're saying, notify us in advance of them actually spending money, or advise us at the next meeting that it was done?
No, just if the executive director was going to execute one of these contracts under 25,000, just before it happened, that the board chair was advised that it's that the executive director was planning on doing it. Just to keep the board in the loop.
This is items under $25,000?
Correct.
Yes.
So for example, the one that you just mentioned before,
I'd be comfortable in allowing the director to act on issues under $25,000 unilaterally,
yeah.
I'm comfortable with that too.
without the bureaucracy of having to contact people.
But I also want all the directors to be comfortable with
Yep.
whatever
Yeah,
procedures
sure.
we're gonna use, so maybe initially, let's try, because Lori and I talk all the time, so, I don't have no problem with her giving me a call.
I didn't,
saying,
honestly, Peter, I didn't see
I got
it
something to go.
as a bureaucracy. I think it's a phone call to say, gee, Jeff described the situation in 2 minutes.
Well, it's a phone call to everyone on the board, which
No,
sometimes.
no, not
No, no,
everyone,
just-
just I said the board chair only.
Just
Oh, the
me.
board chair.
Just me.
Yes,
Oh, okay, yep,
So I just said, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah, only the
Even
board
I
chair is what I
actually
suggested.
talked about it.
got it.
Okay, so it just puts a little, gets the board a little bit more involved, okay, because then I would know. And if I had an issue with it, I'd probably raise it, at that time.
May I suggest in number 1, at the end of the sentence, where it says 25,000, we could say, comma, with prior notice to the board chair.
Yes, okay,
And if-
Or notification
yeah,
to the board chair. So moved to make that change.
okay, to make that change?
I accept the change.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve with the adjustment?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Eric, capital projects.
Yeah,
Bridge looks good though, Jamestown. I said, boy, it looks like it's all done until I came to the part where they're finishing it up.
Almost,
Yeah, almost there. I said, oh.
And I'll keep the updates brief. We're finishing up some work this year, and it's only been a few weeks since the last board meeting, but one of the big, projects that you do notice is the Jamestown Bridge railing project, and I had the pleasure of seeing it from the boat Sunday as I took a cruise with my kids, and I went under and it's actually, it just looks fabulous, especially when you come to the south side of the bridge, you can see the portion that they've actually ground the paint off it. Seeing it from the water was pretty stark, because you see all this nice brown railing, and all of a sudden it's just bare aluminum. And it's nearing the end. I think the painters doing an excellent job. I mentioned before, they'll wrap up on that side, and then you'll see a few of them going down the other side, and they'll be doing touch-up on all the vehicular impacts that we've had since last year, just last year, as a matter of fact. There's quite a bit. You don't see them when you're driving over at speed limit, but when you go in and doing a quick windshield inspection, you see quite a bit. The other thing they're actually doing, and I don't know if I mentioned before, is the same painters are assisting us with sealing of all the curbing and sidewalk joints, which we're putting a big emphasis on those types of maintenance items to keep the water out of places it shouldn't be. And that's going very well as well. So that's part of the other work they'll be finishing on the north side where they left off last year. The other project that's going to be finishing up this year is the Mount Hope repairs that we have with Piasecki Steel. The project's been going very well. That one is one of the ones that has incorporated some fiber reinforced polymer products like staircases and platforms and catwalks. There's a big staircase going in on the north anchorage that they're prepping for a foundation right now. They've got it all excavated. They're going to put the foundation into the stairs. And what this does is it will allow us access to get up to the anchorage, and we'll be secured and locked at the base as well. But it will be access to get up into the anchorage without the use of a bucket or having to go down the cable. And because that anchorage is actually on land, the other anchorage is out in the water, so we wouldn't be able to do something like that. That'll be going in shortly, but they just got done installing some new catwalk access, which is gonna be key for Frank and his folks to go out and maintain the two main joints in the bridge, which right now have troughs that are full of debris and have been extremely difficult to access for 92 years. You know, it just has not been easy to get there to clean it out. We will now have this access. We had some photos come in last week of the installation. It's going to be awesome for our guys. They'll be able to go in there and clean it all out and keep it clean, which is you know, as Peter knows, this is the key to both Peters know that it's the key to keeping the bridges from corroding and keep them you know, keep up on the longevity. So. Those are the two main projects. We finished up a couple of inspections and load ratings, and that's about it, unless everybody has any questions.
Is it possible when you get the Jamestown Bridge inspection to get a copy of that?
I actually just did the other day. I got a box
Sounded
of
like it
it.
was close.
Yeah.
You get a copy.
Thank you, Eric, very good. Okay. Jeff, I think you're up with the financials?
Yes, and I'll keep this brief. It was actually a very good month of July. And as we're looking at our August numbers, you'll see the numbers pretty much replicated in August. Typically, we would have both July and August for you today. Unfortunately, partially due to the audit, but also we're having some issues with reciprocity with the other states, which does not allow us to close August, but I can tell you August is coming in very similar to July. So our total revenues and I'm just going to compare versus budget and not really go versus prior year, and that's because the prior year is kind of a, you know, the COVID year, and my budget is assuming that it's kind of as we advance out of the COVID, so it's a better comparison. But our total revenues were up by $284,000. Our budget assumed 90% of 2019 levels. So our July numbers were better than that, our traffic, so therefore we're getting increased revenue. Also, we also have a mix, and what I mean by that is out of stat, people are paying the $4 versus the 83 cents. We get more of that in the summer months, the higher. And in the budget, I just assume the average throughout the year. So you kind of get that little bit of bump in the summertime, and in the winter, you'll see it go the other way. So that's the $284,000 positive variance. The gas tax revenue, I assume 97% of what I received from the state. It was $94,000 better than that. In August, it was additional $94,000 as well, approximately. So we're ahead on the gas tax revenue. I'm just going to jump down to operating expenses.
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
So that people don't misconstrue, the additional revenue that you're realizing isn't additional revenue for all time. It's relative to the budget that you lowered because of the COVID crisis, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's an austere budget number that
Yes.
these revenues are going up against, and not a normal kind of budget that we would have in non-COVID kind of years.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep,
good.
so on the tolls, I assume 89.5% of 2019 levels,
19.
and in July, we're approximately at 93%.
There you go. Okay, so this is signaling a return to the highways, right?
Yes.
I mean, more than it is an overage in the revenue estimates.
Correct.
Good, okay.
On the operating side, on the personnel services, we did have some open positions, but primarily the difference on this is obviously your payroll expense. In the accounting world, you kind of have your 4-4-5 time period, the number of pay periods that you have in a month. And so when we budget, you just divide by 12. So you're going to see that kind of even out over the course of the quarter. The next biggest one is the contractual services. That's primarily related to legal fees. I assumed that we would incur significant legal fees as a result of the Atsalis claim. Obviously, now that has been settled, we're not seeing those costs come through as I had budgeted. The other supplies and expenses, that's postage, that's timing. Usually at the end of the month, whatever amount we owe for postage, it's usually on the 28th, 29th, or it could go into the 1st or 2nd of the month. So that's just more of a timing issue. On the repairs and maintenance, the $35,000 positive variance. In July, I assumed that we would incur about $30,000 costs related to the ATMS project in spares and miscellaneous costs. We did not incur those, although we may have those costs hitting us in more the September, October timeframe. And then finally, on bridge inspections, this is timing. When Eric and I loaded the budget in, we assumed we had some of those bridge inspections started in July, and in reality, they started in August. So you're picking up a positive variance there, although you'll see that come back later on in the year. Additionally, the task orders that we have entered into for the bridge inspections have been coming in under budget. Right now, we're about $200,000 to the better compared to what we have to budget. And then the other two items I'd like to just reference is on the non-operating income. On the investment income, in July we did some rebalancing of our portfolio based on different asset classes. So as we have some very specific of what we're allowed to have the invest in, and as we fall out of those, as the ratings may change, the broker then readjusts those. So we locked in some gains, about $100,000+ in July as a result of reallocating those assets. And on miscellaneous income, that's related to an insurance recovery. We have not done the repairs yet, so we should see that offset slightly once we do the repairs, because we go to that same line. And that's it. I'll answer any questions you may have.
The only question I had is on that investment income. I had a conversation with Lori, and I'd like to make sure that you track what we're investing in with our investment people, because I understood that that was a real concern and an issue prior to this report.
Yep, so we did address that. We now have quarterly meetings set up with citizens. We do plan on issuing an RFP to make sure that we have the right investment advisor going forward. That's coming up, and we need to do that. So we should issue that RFP within the next 30 or 60 days.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Okay, well, now we'll move to Lori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the first page here in my Executive Director's Report, you have seen this document before. The traffic and revenue is the same document that you saw a couple of weeks ago, since our meetings were so close together. I will tell you that since the official information that we have here, our traffic still, it is sustaining into October. I think if we went back and looked at 2018, not just 19, comparing the pre-COVID year to now, and forgetting about last year, I think if we went back to 18, we would see that it's even sustaining a little bit longer. I don't know if that's because people are just enjoying, for one thing, the weather's been very nice in October, so early October, we are seeing numbers that are very high. We're still seeing numbers in the 100% of the same day in 2019. Sometimes we even see over 100%. So it's been a nice October so far. We would like to see those high season numbers sustain for as long as possible. We know that the seasons happen whether we like it or not, so that will change, but still we're enjoying good traffic, very robust traffic, a return to some semblance of the normalcy that was in 2019. So that's good news. We are approaching, really we are at crunch time on the conversion to all electronic tolling. We will say goodbye to the collectors on October 28th. The actual total transition to all electronic tolling will take place between in the nighttime on the 27th of October and through the day on the 28th of October, which is a Thursday. By the end of the day on October 28th, the collectors will have taken their last $4, their last credit card transaction in the plaza. And they will, there were 15 employees impacted, 8 of them accepted some severance benefits, and 7 of them have accepted new positions here at the authority, because obviously if we're not collecting tolls at the plaza, then we are billing by mail, which means that someone needs to be reading license plate images, matching them to the registered owner of the vehicle, getting the bill into the mail, and then following through with collection. So there are new positions, and also those who were supervisors inside the operations area, monitoring all of our assets, both by eyeballing the plaza and watching the cameras as to what's happening on the Mount Hope, the Secaucus, the Jamestown, the connecting roads, the smaller bridges. Those employees are accepting new positions that we call traffic management technician. And Steve Cahill will be supervising that group of employees. So that's where we're headed. Now, we're headed there for October 27th and 28th, but to get to that point, in the weeks leading up, which would be starting next week, what we're going to need to do is close the open road tolling lanes, the 2 high-speed lanes in the middle of the plaza that have the gantry, and we're going to need to close those in order to put in new equipment and new software that will eventually, not in October, not in November, but eventually, the new software and new equipment will allow those open road tolling lanes to function as double lanes in each direction. For 2 weeks, we're going to ask the patience of the public in bearing with us as we have those 2 open road tolling lanes closed. We are, I always say safety is number 1. We are in meetings constantly. We are constantly we're making certain that both the civil engineers and the lane integrator, the software company, that's WSP and Catch, are working together to make certain that all of this happens in a safe and smooth way. So we will start with the closure of the open road tolling lanes in about October 14th, which is a week from tomorrow. During the rush hours, at least, we will have the 2 extreme outer lanes open so that for those who need the bill by mail option. So the other lanes will be staffed with collectors still. When the collectors exit stage right, the 27th and 28th of October, that is when the open road tolling lanes will reopen. They will, when they reopen, they'll reopen as just 1 lane for now. But as I say, we will know that the software has been installed so that at the beginning of December, we are looking at opening those open road tolling lanes as double lanes in each direction. So we've taken into consideration the needs of the community. We are painfully and very much focused on the exit, the on and off ramps into Jamestown right here, the downtown ramps, the needs of RIPTA, the needs of the community, and we're hoping that this goes goes smoothly, and signage and communication is going to be key. So you'll be hearing us and seeing a lot of publicity about to inform the public of what's going to happen.
So I'm a little confused. We're eliminating manual toll collections, but we're closing down the automated tolling lanes?
Just for 2 weeks.
No, so intuitively, it would be the opposite of that, right? That you would be closing down the manual lanes to replace them with open road tolling lanes.
It's not
clear to me what's actually happening.
Let me, and I understand. So
okay.
We're taking advantage of the fact that we will still have the collectors in the booths. We're taking advantage of that and closing the open road tolling lanes while we still have the collectors. So all the traffic, while Capsh is installing software
And when will you be installing the open road tolling apparatus where the manual collection is taking place now? When will that happen?
October 14th, we will start to install, for 2 weeks we'll be installing, and while we install, we'll have extra collectors who will still be employed here until the end of October, and they will be staffing the booths, and the traffic will be coming through the gated lanes and also through the 2 extreme outer lanes, which will have the arm up that allows for bill by mail.
Okay.
So the collectors will be handling 100, the collectors and those 2 outer lanes that will have the arms up, at least during rush hour traffics and probably at other times during the day. They will handle all of the traffic while we have 2 weeks of the open road tolling lanes closed to allow for the installation of the software and
And then
software.
when will the rest of the manual collection lanes be transformed into open road?
October, if Katie wants to.
Director Algate, so what we're going to do is we're gonna make a new double ORT lane in our existing lanes.
Yep,
So the ones with the toll booths now are gonna be decommissioned. They're not gonna be used during our transition to the permanent gantry.
yep.
So we're basically reorganizing. our
Recreating the
ORT.
capacity.
Right.
So CAPTCHA, as you
Got
know,
it.
you're familiar with the
Got
installation.
it.
They're gonna do that install of the new software, equipment.
So in the
and
future,
other-
what happens with the area of the bridge that currently has the manual collection booths?
It goes away. So,
What do you mean goes away? It stays there unused or?
So for the first 2 weeks, they'll install everything into the existing ORT to create 2 lanes each direction, because we have enough width. Right
Right.
now, it's very generous, the width through there.
Right,
They'll install the equipment over the first 2 weeks, the collectors are here, so we use them, and Katie's got the staff.
I got all that. Now all of this is finished.
Then the civil contractor will do some, so then we'll restore it to 1 lane each direction at a time, and it'll be phased between which lane that the traffic will go through.
Gotcha.
Which will allow the civil contractor to come in and do striping, eradication, and restriping, removal of plastic curb, everything he needs to do to convert that to the 2 and 2 configuration.
Right,
By December 10th, we now go 2 and 2.
right.
The rest of the toll plaza is as though it's not there. It will
Well,
never, it will never be used again except
My,
in an
my point
emergency.
is, it's still there. What's your intention on what you're going to do with that? infrastructure.
So then we're into final design of the final configuration. For the next 18 months, we'll be doing the design, bidding of the new contract.
Gotcha.
And at that point, for those next 18 months, it'll be design and construction of the new so-called alignment, new gantry, demolition of the old plaza,
Gotcha.
et cetera.
So the installation you're doing this month is a temporary installation while the reconstruction in the area of the existing booths takes place?
Correct.
Gotcha.
And it's in place for about a year and a half.
Gotcha.
Also.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Sure.
Claire, Fika,
It's, as I say, I think communication with the public is going to be key.
Yes.
We're hoping that we
Sure.
don't inconvenience people very much. We did a test run last week. We closed, the open road tolling lane in one direction, eastbound, during rush hour to see what kind of an impact it would have on traffic. It wasn't much of an impact.
Good.
It was 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We're going to cross our fingers and do our, luck depends on hard work, right? So we're going to hope to get lucky
Well,
by
it'll be
doing
a couple of days
the
for
work.
people to get used to it, right? And then they'll
Yep.
get the hang of it.
And the 2 weeks hopefully will pass before we know it, and we'll be into the next phase of this.
Good.
So, and the only other thing I wanted to mention is that we continue to aggressively pursue federal funding. We've had some very good feedback on the proposal that we made for a raise grant for the dehumidification of the cables and the anchorages at the Mount Hope Bridge, a 92-year-old bridge, which if built today would have a dehumidification system. So we're waiting and again, hoping for a good result. There's been overwhelming support of the public for good reason, because replacement of the Mount Hope Bridge would be a monumental undertaking. So we're hoping to extend the life of that bridge by a good amount of years. So that's what we've been up to, in addition to everything else that I've given you in my monthly timesheet.
Just one more thing I'd like to mention, because I found out about it quite by accident, is that on October 11th, we're having the bridge run again.
That's the 17th.
Oh, it's the 17th?
It is.
Oh,
It is the
I thought it was
17th.
11th.
Yeah.
The 17th of October, how does that impact all of this?
Well, we have meetings scheduled in the next couple of days, both internal meetings and then meetings with law enforcement to make certain that that it goes smoothly. The bridge run is a very early morning event. I think we're all assembled even before 7 a.m. and it's over by 9:30 at the latest. It's a Sunday morning, and we will be taking into account that by that time, the open road tolling lanes will be closed in that two-week period of time. So we'll be paying special attention to that factor in making certain that everybody walks and runs over the bridge safely.
Okay, just wanted the people to know. Okay, any other questions, concerns, or issues? All right. Well, I'd like to adjourn.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.